Hello, welcome back to It's New. We're all back in our proper places, which is good to see. Let me ask you, Anu, what was your favorite part of XMX?
Oh, Jesus! It's hard to contain. Like meeting the team, meeting all you guys in person, all the hugs. There were so many great hugs. Apart from you, Barry. Barry, we need to teach you how to do hugs better. There's so many hugs.
Greg, do you have a highlight, Greg? Then
my highlight had to be It's New show. Oh my goodness, up on stage.
That was
we were rocking it.
That's why it's not my highlight.
We just had critics popping off on Twitter.
Yeah,
aka Morty.
I would say my favorite part was Morty not being there and then setting his head on fire. That must be my favorite part.
Of course.
Yeah, that must be it.
Amazing.
Anyway, that was XMX. Morty's head caught on fire. And thankfully he wasn't there, so it was a pretty good show.
That's where my hair went.
Anyway, Morty, what do you got for us today?
Google updates its Google. Be careful before you hire an SEO or pay for an SEO tool.
All right, Greg, what do you got?
You can make a good impression with your search profiles now on Google.
I'm covering the Google search rank volatility, no dot, and Bing's no AI extension search parameter. New, what do you got for us?
Yeah, Microsoft has expanded some audience stuff for crypto guys.
Crypto guys. All right, Morty, since you're a crypto, let's go.
Yeah, and Forex. First off, I just want to say I'm sorry I couldn't be there. I really did enjoy the show watching it, and I really wanted to hug Barry. I still want to hug you, Barry. Yeah, just to make you uncomfortable, not because I actually want to hug you. Google updated its hiring guide for SEOs. So there is a piece of documentation like, do you need to hire an SEO? And Google has made updates to it. Basically, it's talking about because of the AI, GEO, AEO, whatever optimization. There's new parts to it where Google says things like, if they have advice on optimizing for AI experiences, also known as AEO, GEO services, is their advice aligned with Google's search's official guidance on optimizing for generative AI features? There's a whole bunch of changes to the guidelines that make it a little more skeptical of, I guess, what you'll call people overselling SEO, now GEO. And that's also in line or in conjunction with rather Google updating its documentation on third-party SEO tools.
Brand new document.
So it's a brand new document? I'm sorry. My
bad. Not the hiring is all old.
Right, third-party tools. You wrote that. Creating a new document. My bad. About the tools. Now, this is bonkers. I'll say I work as an SEO at an SEO tool, and I am a tool. So it all aligns. This, I believe, is because of the tools that are offering deliverables. It seems pretty clear to me that this is what this is about. There's a lot of tools out there offering deliverables saying you will get better results with our tool. And I think this is Google going after that. There are things in there like questions, what you should be asking beforehand. Google said some of these services may be helpful for your work, while others may make claims or imply that what you do is somehow acceptable or approved by Google search. It is not. So when the tools are saying, hey, it's Google approved, Google has not endorsed or approved any of this stuff. And then basically Google's also saying, be wary of automation and connecting and just going with whatever these tools are telling you to do, whatever they do for you. That might not be in your best actual interest. But again, I think this is Google going after the automated deliverables.
Yeah, I do agree. I think people were, or these tool sets or even companies, it wasn't really just specific to third-party tools, also third-party services and third-party advice, maybe. So I don't know if it was outright tool specific, but it obviously seemed to lean tool specific, not putting any SE ranking anywhere there. But basically, yeah, to incorporate the AI stuff and more so to say these tools are providing things that are saying this is approved by Google or stuff like that, which is something that a lot of people have been doing over the years, especially shady, companies.
We do not do that.
And Glenn Gabe was like, I believe we might see a whole set of spam updates that wipe out these sites gaming AI search. So we'll see if that actually happens. Exciting times to come. But if you have 1 million TikTok users like Greg Finn, you could get a search profile.
I don't have anybody on TikTok.
Oh, you're a lonely guy, huh?
I can't use it. I get in there, it's just people moping around with text on their face.
Yeah.
Somebody sad with text over their face.
Does
That's
it
what
say
it is.
Ad Squire on it?
No. Okay, so we didn't cover search profiles on this show yet, but they are a new feature from Google that can be dedicated shareable space to highlight content across platforms and help audiences find accurate, up-to-date information about sources on search. Just the quick disclaimer is you need to either have 100,000 YouTube followers, fan or whatever, Instagram 100,000, X 100,000, or TikTok 300,000. Barry, you have set up your own search profile. You hit the criteria, I'd assume with X and YouTube. So nice job there. And then when you go there, I believe it's just creators.google/@rustybrick, I believe. And then you can see sort of like an aggregate of all of your content that you've hooked up.
That's profile.google.com/rustybrick. Maybe
Okay.
Creators Works also. I don't know.
Okay, it's one of them. We'll have it in the show notes. And then, so this is supposed to just be a spot for all of your central content, so that if somebody's like, oh, I want to go search for Logan Paul or something like that, I can go see all the most recent content in one spot. I don't have to bounce back between one platform and another, is sort of my take on it. We've obviously seen this fail in the past with like authorship and Google Plus and Google Plus connections making it into the SERPs and things like that. But it's here, so we could talk about that in a minute, Barry, and we can get your experience. But Jane Mac Wong had seen a improvement in her account where now she can see the top 5 posts on search, clicks, impressions, and top country data that's coming in. I don't know if this is new because I don't have those numbers, Barry, but it is kind of cool to be able to see like how active these are. And then the one additional thing is if you had a knowledge panel in the past, that will be translated over into a search profile, and then somehow you'll have to claim it, it seems like. So Barry, what are your thoughts on search profiles?
So one, I don't have the insights yet. It's beta, and I don't see it on my account. So I was wondering if like she just made this up and like doctored it because I never heard of her before. But John Mueller liked the post when I posted about the beta.
She's a big breaker of social, Meta X.
She has a lot of followers, so yeah.
If she shares something, it's usually
okay.
real.
So it's legit. So I mean, it was legit because John Mueller also like kind of liked the post. And search profiles is interesting. I guess it's Google's. I mean, I gave you a hot take and they were at your team interviewed me at XMX, and I kind of went off a little bit. But basically, it's
Rusty Brick.
It's two things. One is it's another take of Google trying to do social profiles, which has failed at numerous times. This is not just Google Plus, but they've done this on search, I think 2 times before, at least twice before in the history of Google. And those have failed. So I'm not sure why these will work. And 2, it's like throwing breadcrumbs at creators and publishers to try to give them some like type of like, oh, okay, we have a profile for you. Like, is that going to send them more traffic? I mean, people are searching for them anyway. So it's like, oh, it makes them feel better for a minute, and then they have their profile because they have over 100,000 TikTok subscribers, YouTube, whatever it might be, and they get to have this profile. I don't know. It's cute. Google continues to do this type of stuff where they're trying to create social profiles and then trying to give creators some type of breadcrumb. That's my take on it.
I also think it's good for Google, to be honest with you. Like if you have this centralized source and you're trying to see like, hey, I want to know exactly what Barry put out. I don't want to check each one of these networks. Like I can go there, I can read it. I don't sometimes even have to go to the social site.
True. I actually had to add, so my YouTube account is on a separate Google account. So I had to ask Google to actually put it on my Google profile. It took them like 3-4 days. It wasn't as quick as Inspired Taste, but it happens. So but they have to validate it. It's a separate Google account. So anyway, so yeah, that was interesting search profiles. Do you think it's going to last?
No, they don't do anything with social. They don't do anything right. Everything is like, it's the most important thing in the world, and then it doesn't matter at all. It's just such a strange way that they've.
Well, if they manipulated the algorithm, it would work. Like if this ranked above all your Wikipedia stuff.
I also just think it's weird that like you have to use like X to verify that you're following. Like that's strange to me.
Yeah, that's strange.
I don't know. I mean, and Lily Ray had a tweet out there. It's like, all right, every SEO just start buying 100,000 Instagram followers. SEOs
like
be
YouTube,
SEO.
like they would on YouTube.
Yeah, like they did on YouTube. Anyway, Google has their search ranking volatility this weekend, of course. It's an interesting one because the tools aren't showing the spikies. And I don't know why they're not showing the spikies. I think 90% of them aren't showing any spiky volatility. But there is a lot of chatter over the weekend, especially from Webmaster World and on the Search Engine Roundtable website. A lot of people saying this, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're seeing a lot of volatility, a lot of fluctuation. Some people that saw that their rankings declined from the core updates saw increase in their traffic, and some people said, "Hey, my rankings that were doing really, really well after core update now dropped again." So this is typical from after a core update. We see Google kind of like change things up a little bit, like the week after the core update. But this is concerning or happiness for some people who did well after this. So keep in mind that the tools did not pick up on it, but there is a significant chatter, which usually doesn't happen where they both usually happen and coincide with each other. So it's just a little bit weirdness there. And I did embed my new Google Search Engine Roundtable volatility tracker there. So you just get it all in one chart, which is cool. And then Bing decided to pull a DuckDuckGo, where they're like, you don't want AI search? We don't give you AI search. You can have best of both worlds. They saw how much traffic and how much visibility and how much press DuckDuckGo was getting from not having AI. They're like, we're going to give that a try because that's our marketing team. And they went ahead and released a browser extension for Chrome and Microsoft Edge that lets you toggle off the ability to see AI features like Copilot results, it answers in the actual Bing search results. Everybody's like, that's cool. Okay, great. They also added the ability to have like a minus AI. So if you type your query and put minus AI, you're not going to get an AI result. Great. But why? Everybody's asking, why do you make a Chrome extension and a Edge extension? Why don't you just make a little setting in Bing or a toggle at the top right of the search results to toggle it off? Why download an extension? It's like malware-ish. So they didn't like give an answer. Like Michael Schechter from Bing was like, looking for feedback from dedicated users, which is why it's a preview, to figure out how to best integrate such functionality more generally into the product. Okay. Anyway, so it's cool they're thinking about this. They obviously just did this because of DuckDuckGo, and that's typically how Microsoft's marketing team works.
Ooh, shots fired.
It's disappointing. I want Bing to do well. I want Microsoft to do well. But
Do they have dedicated users?
And then Google is interesting. So Google like has some type of Chrome, what's it called? The Chrome Canary. It's like a early version of Chrome that people could download and test out. And they had this little flag in there that when you did a search on the Chrome bar, it would actually take you directly to AI mode. And everybody's like, oh my God, this is like usually what you see in these early versions of Chrome is what's going to be the default in the future. So everybody's like, oh my God, this is AI mode is going to be the default search experience in Chrome in the future and maybe in Google search because of this. Everyone's like, oh my God, this is the future. This is the future. It was reported by Windows Report on Friday. And then later that Friday around 2:30 p.m., Rajan Patel from like a VP search, et cetera, at Google said, hey, this was an error. We're not planning to make AI mode the default for Chrome searches. So I felt that was weird. I didn't cover the Windows Report because I thought I needed to follow up with Google on that. And Glenn Gabe got the response from Rajan Patel, which is great. But no, Chrome will not, at least at this point, make AI mode the default search experience. I don't think it ever will be the default the way it is search experience, but I think eventually you'll see it to be more AI in the future, which we discussed numerous times on the show. All right, let's get into audience ads.
Yeah, so trying to, recover Microsoft after shots fired from Barry over there. So Microsoft are now expanding audience ads eligibility for cryptocurrency exchanges. So what does that mean? So Microsoft has updated their advertising policies to allow cryptocurrency exchanges to use their audience ads in all approved crypto advertising markets. So this applies only to advertisers that do comply with the Microsoft cryptocurrency and related products policy and any applicable local regulations. They still have to meet all eligibility requirements and comply with the cryptocurrency and related products policies, which will vary market by market. So yeah, make sure you're not going against any rules. But yeah, they have more audience placements to look forward to for all the crypto bros like Moody.
Yeah, that's me. I'm more Forex than crypto, but yeah.
All right. Very good. We're a little bit long on this show, so everyone have a great day. We'll be back tomorrow with more It's New. Have a good one. Bye.
Right.
Sorry, I'm back.